Yo, you know the vibe, older sober guy, watching Cobra Kai as my wildest dreams die below the sky. You know the vibe, surf line, bonafide, overhead pipeline, ultra ride, Vince Vega, John Travolta high. You know the vibe, unless you ain't been notified. Roll V, wade in the water, get it codified.
All right, everyone, welcome back to the QuiverCast. Today, we have a world-renowned hip-hop rapper, Kyle Raps. How are you doing, Kyle?
Hey, I'm doing okay, man. Yourself?
Good. So, hip-hop or a rap's not necessarily the music I listen to.
Okay.
I like it, though. Is it go by hip-hop or does it go by rap or both?
I think you could do both. I think, hip hop is normally associated with the culture, which also includes, breaking, DJing, of course, MCing, and graffiti writing. And so you have MCing or rapping as one of the tenets of hip hop culture.
Got it.
But sometimes people just call it as a musical genre too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Right now, in the recent times, you've made an article in Surfer Magazine. You made a stir in the surf world, rapping, telling a story about your surfing life and experience. How did you come up with that idea?
Well, how far back you want me to take it?
Go as far as you need to.
So, I grew up in New Jersey, East Coast. It was steeped into my culture of listening to rap music and being in hip hop, surrounded by hip hop. And, I never really saw a possibility for me to be able to actually be a surfer. It just never really was something that, especially the culture, I grew up in Black culture, and there's a lot of fear of swimming, fear of the ocean, and not much access either to beaches. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Especially in Jersey, because I didn't know if you knew this. I figure you might, Mike, because you're like a OG and saying in the game, but you got to pay in order to have access to the beaches in New Jersey.
Saw that recently. Just made the news, actually.
Oh yeah, I seen that with the surfer who got choke slammed or whatever. Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, so for us, I came up in subsidized housing in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying, and every now and then you take a trip out to the beach. You pay to get on the beach, but really it was about the boardwalk. You just walking around, playing games, hanging out with your homies like that. And then if you got on the beach, you would just grab a bite, but you rarely would even get in the water. It wasn't until, honestly, bro, I had seen the movie Point Break. When I guess it came out like maybe 93 or something like that. Yeah, until I had seen the original movie of Point Break with, Swayze and Keanu Reeves and all that I was like, yo, this shit, I didn't even consider surfing, whatever. It just wasn't in my periphery. Right. Even though I'm on a coastal city, you see what I'm saying? So the irony of that. And, I was just blown away, of course. And even though that's not the classic or golden star by any stretch representation, now I know, of surf culture, right? Mm-hmm. It was what it was. I hadn't had access to things like Endless Summer or, things like this, because it was just And then, of course, Beach Boys. You had heard the Beach Boys, and you had heard a few sounds from the surf rock world. So you heard some Dick Dale. You didn't even know it was Dick Dale. Mm-hmm. You heard some of that, as I was coming up. So always surrounded by music and stuff like that too. So growing up and seeing the Point Break and it had an edge to it, and I was seeing how I remember this one kid in Point Break was said to Keanu Reeves as he's buying his huge, goofy, foamy, and he says, he's like, surfing's the source that changed your life. I swear to God. You know what I mean? And I was just hearing that. I was like, yo, that shit, there's something to this. I knew there was something to it,
Okay.
And then watching that movie, obviously, got me. And then you start watching other surf movies, and then you start to go down that rabbit hole. But it never felt like something that would be of access to me or anyone in my, my neighborhood, my community. In 1999, and so now we fast forward into where hip hop music is sort of, you've already had the Tribe Called Quest. You've had, Del the Funky Homo Sapien. These are people you may not know. Some people in your audience may not know, but they were more alternative rap. So it wasn't as much as a gangster rap or a stereotypical thing you might think of. They were exploring different kinds of the far side. You know, they were exploring different topics. They were using jazz samples. It was really interesting, man. They brought it, and sometimes some people will call that snowboard rap, right? But you know, it's like because a lot of snowboarders they like that alternative energy, you know, that some of these artists were bringing, and I was very influenced by that because I was already like I had already got after I had seen things like Point Break and you know that I took swimming lessons and I was like, you know, I was like one day I'm gonna try to do this, but you know I didn't know if it was gonna be for me.
Yeah.
So I started doing rap music like around that time. I was 13, 14. And then you also had, you know, like as a 99, I'm 19 years old. And I go out to California for the first time and I go to like a little festival and it's all these rap artists, you know, and I'm listening to Sublime, who they also was fusing some of the, you know, the Long Beach surf culture and all that kind of stuff. So I'm seeing an alternative way to bring rap. Okay. Not just like this typical way. And how it then starts to connect with skate culture. You have Lupe Fiasco, who had a hit song called Kick Push, right? And that really also helped ignite, although there were some previous ones. Then you have groups like Odd Future and Tyler, the Creator, LA-based, also a skater. And it's like, you know, but I hadn't really seen anyone bring rap into the surf sphere.
Okay.
Now, regardless, you know, I was a fan. And I remember in 99, I went to California for the first time. Boom, I lived in Venice Beach for a summer, a temp job, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Just a little office temp job. And I would go out to Venice Beach. This is 99, so Venice was like a little bit more the hood, you know? It wasn't all like
more raw.
That's right. And so I remember going out. At this point, I knew how to swim. I was like, boom, I'm going to go out in these waves. And I would go out in the waves, and it was a whole community of people out there, you know what I'm saying? And we was just thrashing around, getting slammed, and it was great. And then there was the surf flag, the flag that divides the surfers
from swimmers.
The swimmers. Yeah. And I remember like just looking to the right, and the surfers was there, and I was like, yo, like they like mythical creatures out there, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is like before it was quite as touristic for the surf, and even in Venice, because Venice was like, you know, edgy like that. It was way more territorial, way more local, you know.
Yeah.
And so it was just kind of like it still didn't feel accessible. I'm like, bro, like. It was always looming there like that. So finally, you know, for me, you know, I started developing my rap music to the degree where I got to collaborate with some of my heroes. This is back when I end up back, you know, go back East Coast. I'm in New York, you know what I'm saying, at the time in Harlem, and I got to collaborate with legends like KRS-One.
Yep.
You know, I got to collaborate with, you know, Talib Kweli, and now my rap is starting to develop.
Okay.
Music is starting to develop into something serious. You know, never to the degree where it's like, oh, you're making a crazy living off of it, but like, you know, some cultural impact. And all the while I'm watching, you know, I had been watching I've been dialed into the WSL stuff, you know what I mean? Of course, you know, I was interested in the history of, you know, surf culture and Polynesia. And, you know, I always loved the tiki sounds, you know what I'm saying? I always loved the surf guitar. And then, you know, as things progressed, I finally got on the surfboard the first time I was in Puerto Rico. It was just like some real basic, Rincon, Puerto Rico, right? And I was out there. And like got on one little lesson. I was like, yo, like it felt really almost so impossible as I was, I don't know, 32 years old, 33 years old. And it was not cheap. You know, that lesson was not cheap. So I was like, yo, this is not how accessible for me. You know what I'm saying? It finally came down to it where I had moved after the pandemic. I'm fast forwarding to 2020 where I had moved to LA. Okay. My music is now like developed. I'm doing more alternative rap, but it's like, you know, I get small accolades here and there, you know.
Nice.
So it's like, okay, that's good. 2020, you know what I mean? And I'm in LA and it's the pandemic and it's the classic, you know, whatever, like, you know, moves to LA search. But it's not like that for me. It's so much because I had that love. You know what I mean? That like
awareness.
Awareness. I shouldn't say love because I feel love is more of an action thing. You know, like do it, you love it, but like an infatuation. You know what I mean?
I like that.
And I mean, and you know, I would watch all the movies and all the things, and you know, follow some of the service. And so I met this. It was crazy. Like I met this lady, this young lady, and you know, she told me she surfed. And I was like, yo, this is like some classic shit. Like I moved to LA, like I meet this surfer girl, you know. I'm living my little Beach Boys fantasy upside, and she's like, yo, we should go. And I go out surfing and I'm like, she takes me, she brings a board out. I'm like, yo, I'm trash. Like, this is not like, I'm like, yo, I'm not going to do it. And she's like, yo, actually there's a, organization that gives free surf lessons to people of color.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, bet. Like, and it's called Color the Water. Okay. So I could go more in depth about sort of the philosophies and the things around, especially, people of color and surfing and the space and black surf culture, stuff like that. But
I do want to hear that. Yeah.
I'll get into. But anyways, I just fell in love with surfing through Color the Water, and I would go every day with them. And it was just this really dope space where it's like, oh, like they're gonna carve out a space, out here on these breaks for like folks who are like more like adult learners, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
To consistently feel welcome in this space and have community. So I would go every day. I go every day to the point where like, okay, now we're going from, the wave storm to the South Bay joint. And okay, now we can rock on some fiberglass. You know what I mean? It's starting to, and I'm not, I'm not by any stretch, an advanced surfer, but I can go down the line. I can do my shit. You know what I mean? I can enjoy it. I can be in a lineup and like at least know what's what. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay.
Type shit, after the time spent and the consistency. And so that was maybe about a year in. And I was like, yo, like I'm here. My main business is a recording studio.
Mm-hmm.
Take advantage of the time and of this newfound love. And I found like also just that it was very cathartic. Like even when I was struggling, I feel like I'm building this relationship with the ocean, you hear that stereotype, but still like, and even in the frustrating days, it was like a lot of stuff was coming out. I feel like it was healing a lot of stuff for me, you know what I'm saying? Like traumas, childhood. And I thought, man, I want to put this in my music. I started going hard, recording music that was influenced by my surf journey. So long story long. No, that
was great. That was great. And your music, it touches on other subjects besides surfing, but it kind of centers around surfing is the way I feel. That's the way I'm hearing the music. Mm-hmm. Is that kind of how you feel about it?
Yeah. I mean, look, I feel like there's a lot of people who want to take something and make it a gimmick, especially in today's like Instagram reels, you're on the toilet, just see a quick thing, get hooked on it type shit.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm not trying to just like do that with anything that I have respect and honor and reverence for. So when it comes to infusing surf culture, for me, I wanted to approach it from what felt like an authentic place to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I'm talking about like, social issues.
Yes.
I'm talking about, my own failed romantic experiences, struggles from my upbringing and trying to filter that through my surf journey and how I'm learning, but how I'm also experiencing surf culture as a guy who, identify, a black man in surf culture, you know what I mean? And surrounded also in sort of a sea of, mostly white, mostly privileged, especially out here in Los Angeles, surfers in the lineup, you know what I mean? So I want to be able to express that in sort of like a way that feels real for me and that also like gives reverence to the surf culture as a whole. So that's kind of my thing.
Okay. So what was the organization? Because I am not familiar with them. I heard you talk about them in the past.
Yeah. So the main organization that I had tapped into is called Color the Water.
Color the Water. Okay, cool.
There are a few other, there's been like sort of a burgeoning movement, among, surf organizations of color since around the pandemic. Actually Color the Water was born after, the George Floyd incident. From there, it was like there was a whole paddle out of surfers of color. And, it was like there wasn't a whole lot of organization. There had been a couple of prior ones. One of the original Black surf organizations was Black Surfers Collective, right? And they've been around for a couple generations. And so that's sort of, they're the old guard, you know what I'm saying? And then you also have Ebony Beach Club, which is more of like a social beach-based sort of org, but like also fuses with surf as well. So Color the Water was really awesome. Like, yo, we're gonna decolonize the ocean. That's sort of like the mantra for that one, where it's like, okay, a lot of folks who had been out, who had experienced some, discrimination, especially because it's kind of like, you see a black surfer, you see that they're not like super advanced. You know, a lot of white folks, especially you go to a place like Topanga, which we call Topangri, right? You go out there, you know what I'm saying? And you got a cranky old dude been surfing his whole life. He sees like, you know, one or two black surfers out there, and he's like, oh, they're gonna be kooks. They're gonna be, you know what I mean? They're gonna get in my way type shit. And you get that energy. Like people really, to me, it's wild. I don't know, Mike. I mean, you've been surfing your whole life, but like the level of aggression and like lack of chill from some of the surfers in the lineup to me, bro, is like kind of confounding. I don't know if that's your experience too, but it's like, motherfucker, you surf, you in the ocean, bro. Like you know what I'm saying? Like be humble, like you know, like also you're not like a pro, like just come out here, enjoy yourself, enjoy the community. You know what I mean? Don't just be out here hunting waves, like, you know, like, oh, I gotta get my shit. Oh, you fucked up. I'm gonna get on this shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on, bro. Anyways, that's my take.
Okay. So I'm 180 degrees away from you. I'm completely the things you're saying, and I'm not gonna argue with you. It's all good.
I want it. Bring it.
Yeah. Well, the angry white guy that's been surfing his whole life, or whatever color he is, doesn't even really matter.
Okay, so, sure.
When I see a surfer, when I paddle out, this is from my perspective, and probably most people that surf for their whole life, I don't see color. I see how good the surfer is.
Sure.
Okay. And if a guy's totally ripping, and he's better than me, then he's, I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but I'm going to give him a little bit more respect.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's good. Now, if he's an asshole, a complete asshole, that's a whole different story. Mm-hmm. But this is say everyone's following the proper etiquette, the proper rules. And in surf culture, it's the person that's, and let's just say generically, the person that has surfed, so let's say a local spot, most often, and is there all the time, gets respect. Even if he's not better than you, if he's in the inside of the peak or the wave, you're going to let him go. Unless he's a complete Barney.
I get you, man. And I hear what you're saying. So let me like give a little bit of the context, you know, yes. My perspective on that, right?
Yeah.
And obviously, look, my perspective is not going to be as like fucking knowledgeable, you know, as somebody who's been doing it the whole time and may see angles. But I will tell you, man, that first of all, when you talk about Los Angeles, right? Where you stay at, by the way, Mike?
I'm in Oceanside, but I grew up in Long Beach, so I've surfed LA a million times.
Okay, I
know LA,
so you know what it is.
Yeah.
So you know, you go to some of the nicest breaks, right? Even on a small day, you know, 2, 3. You know what I'm saying? Boom. You go to some of the nicer breaks in Malibu. You go to Point Doom. You go to Little Doom. You know what I'm saying? Case may be. What you're going to see is the person this is like in general, the person who has access to be able to be since they was a kid. The person who has access to go every day and has the disposable income and time to go every day, with rare exception, is going to be someone who has means, bro. They're going to be someone who grew up with bread or who has bread, and usually white or property near the ocean. You see what I'm saying? So for me, my issue on that is like, as someone, you know what I'm saying, like, as someone who come from a culture not even that far away from the ocean, but just didn't, you know what I'm saying, like didn't have the access. I feel like, especially black folks, but you know, instead of have sort of been ousted out of, first of all, redlining property near the beach. You know what I'm saying? Redlining, not being able to have access to mortgages and all this type of shit over the years. So that's where I take issue, you know, on the social side of it, right? In a way where it's like, okay, how we supposed to get out there and learn? How we supposed to actually get on a decent wave and learn on a decent wave if we don't have that time, you know? So you got these cats who, I understand that's the traditional surf culture, oftentimes as dictated, right? As dictated by whatever the local break may be, oftentimes which started out with white folks of means doing they surf safaris, going out to Polynesia, quote unquote, you know, colonizing the breaks. You see what I'm saying? This is my perspective. I love it. I love hearing. I don't mind the back and forth, and I respect your point. But I definitely have some passion about where I'm coming from, you know, and where I've learned from some of the other surfers of color, black surfers, and their perspective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
They would be better spoken to it than me, but you know, I get a little bit of a platform because I can rap good. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, there you go.
Yeah. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? Yeah, that part for me is like, yo, we kind of want to come out here and say like, nah, like we feel like it's kind of our birthright to be able to step out here and have some space to learn and grow and have this relationship with the ocean and in the dope spots. You see what I'm saying? Now, last thing I'll say on this, I ain't trying to go. If you in somewhere like where it's different, it's like Hawaii, you know what I'm saying? It's a different thing. The local culture is different, you know what I'm saying? And that local culture was also influenced, right. And local culture was also influenced by, you know, what sort of let's say the more white Los Angeles, Australian, you know, surf folks brought to it, right? But like in general, like a lot of them local joints, like they just it's a whole different thing. They grew up right there, and you know what I'm saying, that's that island culture that's different. I'm talking specifically what I experienced mostly in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But even a lot of folks there have been influenced in that way where they didn't necessarily have the opportunity to just like share waves, you know what I'm saying? And like enjoy the different, like not be as competitive about it type shit. You know, like you go to a local break in Hawaii that's not like the poppin'est break, you see families, you know what I mean? So you see people sharing, locals, you know? And so anyways, I know I said a lot, but.
No, it's good. A few things I'd like to touch on. First off, and don't get me wrong, once again, surfers are selfish, 100%.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? They're there to get their waves.
Got you.
Regardless of who you are. Now, they don't give a shit.
No, I feel you on that. But and, where's the awareness though? You see what I'm saying?
So let's go backwards to when I started surfing.
Yeah.
I didn't paddle out at the best break in the world. I had to work my way up. So I'm down the beach where the shitty waves are, right? And as you get better, you progress. You start moving a little closer to the better waves, and a little closer to a better way, until then you get yelled at, you get screamed at, you get chased by old men. This is from my life, where they're going to kick my ass. Stories where I'm surfing near a pier, right? These aren't even surfers, these are fishermen. And their fishing line, they're like almost going to hit us. So I snapped the line. All of a sudden, I got 20 dudes on the beach ready to kill me, waiting for me to come in. With that being said, yeah, surfers are selfish. The awareness, I don't even really understand that question. Like, what should I be aware of? Or what should surfers be aware of? Tell us.
Okay, well, here's what I think. And it does not go against, you know, I understand what you're saying. You know what I'm saying? You had to pay some dues.
100%.
You tell me, Mike, you paid dues. You fucking, you came up, you had to struggle through the fishing line, the yelling at peoples and this and that. Then I get it. You know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of us who, especially like, you know, and again, I'm playing a little bit of a racial identity card.
That's okay. That's fine. That's good.
Real for a lot of my community.
I get it.
You see what I'm saying? We don't have time for that, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, we don't have time for that, bro.
Okay.
I ain't got time for that shit. Like, I'm not 12, man. And most of us aren't. You know what I'm saying? And we want to be able to have that experience so that we can then pass it off to our children. So our children can you know, at least have a little bit of a shot at experiencing this incredible resource. You see what I'm saying? Which is having this, especially a surfing relationship with the ocean, which to me is like, so, I mean, it's you know, once you taste that shit, and we coming from that place, right? And so, you know, I kind of feel like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to like eat out here on these waves, you know what I'm saying? And like, I think motherfuckers need to learn how to, and we come from a different perspective too. A lot of us, you know, in the black surf community, we like, yo, we eat together. You see what I'm saying? And I think that there is needs to be a more awareness of a reform in that system, because fuck that selfish shit, bro. Nah, man, like you don't own this fucking ocean, bro. You don't own these waves,
right?
You know, that's my take, bro.
Yeah.
We need to like join in, like make it more of a community experience. You know what I'm saying? Like across the board, so it's not just a bunch of angry motherfuckers just. I don't fuck with that.
Okay. The surf culture has changed dramatically, especially since COVID. And I know that's when you started. Nothing against you or anybody else that started during COVID.
No, I get you.
I feel like surf culture for generations was kids learning how to surf. Parents weren't learning how to surf. Now we have a whole new thought on surfing where you can surf at any age. You can start at any age, and that's fine. I'm good with that. But then there's the breakdown of how things always were and now how things are being changed quickly by, let's say I share information with somebody, could be you or it could be anybody, it doesn't matter. And you try to let them know the proper etiquette so maybe they don't let their board go and hurt somebody, or they don't hurt themselves for that matter.
Sure.
And a lot of times over the last 7 years, they feel like maybe I'm picking on them or something. And I say it very nicely, as nice as I can, actually. Yeah. So there's resistance there to working together, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, you're saying, like, this kind of comes on, it's both sides. You know what I mean? It's the side of the learner, and it's the side of the more advanced person to be able to actually, like, reach out in a way that shows some respect. You know, that's not just like condescending and on some bullshit, especially when you're talking about these dynamics, these social dynamics we're talking about, but also of the learner to sort of like, okay, give that opportunity to learn and be humble and be teachable. And yeah, I understand what you're saying on that level for sure. And I get that. I definitely get that. I think that there's also that's there. And I think you probably one of the good ones. I don't know you like that, but you know what I'm saying?
And I can be an asshole too. Don't get me wrong.
Okay. But I think so. I like it. I think sometimes the level of that selfishness of, you know, folks who are like, you know, boom, like, oh, we paid our dues, therefore, like, we eat, and we see y'all trying to eat a little bit, and we going motherfuckers take advantage, man. They really do. They be like on some like, oh, that's not safe for you out here, shit like that. It's not always like the way you talking about it. They use it as a weapon. You see what I'm saying? To try to alienate, you know, someone who maybe not even like a brand new motherfucker who's just gonna throw their board like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? It could be someone who's like advanced beginner who like knows how to catch waves, but they're not going to catch them as consistently. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of us out there who like know the classic etiquette stuff, but like, y'all gonna snake us and y'all gonna make it look like we snaked you. You know what I mean? Shit like that. So you know what I mean?
That happens to everybody.
Of course, right? But I'm saying it happens more to the person who's going to be like, you know,
of course.
In that place of the, yeah. So
I don't know how to fix the problem. First off.
Yeah.
This is good. We're talking about it. Maybe other people have, and everyone has their own ideas on how it should happen.
Yeah. And like, I love discussion, bro. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm having fun.
But I will say, I think we are fixing the problem. I'm talking about the black surf, especially like the color of the water. You know what I'm saying? Especially like some of these homies who, you know, we just like, yo, we here, motherfucker. Like, we deal with us. You see what I'm saying?
So tell us, color of the water, as a group of individuals, I'm sure there's females and males in there too. I'm sure, right?
Yeah, across the board, across the
the philosophy? What is the general philosophy of the group or organization or whatever you want to call it?
Well, look, I'm not, you know, I don't feel fully equipped to you know, expound on it, but you know, there's information on the website, of course.
Okay, I'll check that out for sure. I didn't,
but I will tell you what, you know, some of the things that when I go out there with the squad, you know, saying, it's really trying to, first of all, enable and empower people of color to be able to have a relationship with the ocean, you know, especially through
that's great.
100%, you know what I mean? And then also like, it's to be able to sort of like, maybe have some social impact out here with some of the dynamics that we believe, a lot of us believe, at least I believe, you know, are racially, even if it may not be like you go out there like, yo, black person, I don't fuck with you, you know what I mean? Or yo, Asian, I don't fuck with you out here. Yeah. Like, I think that there are some people who are like that for sure. But then there are also, you know, I think dynamics in place that make it so that, like, for example, so we want to change those dynamics. Like, for example, it took me this long, bro. It's not like, oh, I was just by the ocean, not surfing, not paying bro. There was no fucking way I would have had a shot at it.
Okay.
Until I'm in my, you know, my late 30s, you know, and a lot of us are like that. So when you talk about the kids of the generation of the kid, so we want to make it so that like we can carve out that space. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I like it.
If that means homie who's been doing it and he's ripping and running and he's, you know what I mean, doing all his aerials and shit like that, and we're gonna pull out in the middle. and we're gonna be 9 of us, and we're gonna bump some fucking music. We're gonna bump Lauryn Hill out there. We're gonna bump Return of the Boom Bap out there. You know what I mean? And he's an old, and he's like, all right, it's not safe. You're in the middle. No, you had a good ride. Fuck out of my face.
Okay. Well, we'll disagree on that. Well, the part of I can't agree with you. I just can't. Sorry.
Okay, I get it. I mean, it's ingrained in you. You had a whole experience of your own. I get it. Of your own paying dues and your own experience in that thing. That's just the way that we trying to change it. You know what I'm saying? That's one way. One way.
Well, okay. So, what about in this organization? Are you guys bringing kids in? Are you bringing some of the more LA kids to go surfing with you guys?
Oh yeah, 100%. So
okay.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's how I see it. Mm-hmm. These kids one day are going to be good surfers.
I hope so. I hope
so.
Okay.
How do I say this the right way? They're going to feel the same way as I do.
You think so?
Yeah, 100%. Because there is a great divide between someone that can surf good and someone that's.
I understand.
Okay.
But I do know.
And if they're good, it doesn't matter. I don't think what color they are, because you can see if you go to where have you surfed anywhere else in the world? Because I know you've traveled the world.
Yeah, I've traveled. I've surfed in Mexico. Okay. And that's about it. You know what I'm saying? Okay. I surfed the Mexican pipeline out there in out there in Oaxaca.
Okay. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, it was a small day, but I got to see some of them heroes, emerge from the tubes and shit like that, and vibe with them. But anyway, keep going.
If you go to Japan, right, and it's Japanese surfers, they have their own different culture of surfing, right? Yeah. So anywhere you go in the world, but if you go anywhere in the world, there is some basic rules that the whole world follows. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It is, and who started those rules?
That's a great question. Surfers. I don't know what color. Probably white, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that a lot of that stuff was imposed by folks who want to do that selfish.
There's the selfish, but there's also injury or people getting hurt. So
agreed.
If someone's going down the line and they're going fast, and you decide, well, you've had enough waves, and I'm going to drop in on you, and you go straight, or you kind of aren't going as fast as that person.
I know. I get it.
There's a possibility we both get injured, or one of us get injured.
100% get it. So what I'm saying is, like, in certain breaks, right? And this is a sort of, we talking about LA right now, like that's where we at right now. So in certain breaks in Los Angeles, right?
What breaks?
Oh, Topanga would be like a prime break where it's like, beautiful, right? It's like on a good day or even a decent day or even a small day, you could take a nice ride. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, and go for a while.
Sometimes it breaks up. Sometimes it'll break up. There's the like the lifeguard tower right there, the lighthouse, where it'll break up. And sometimes you'll have two sections. You'll have like the section where it's the main peak, and you have a section where it's kind of like, the scrub peak, if you want to call it that. The peak of the beginners have an opportunity, but it's not really much of a peak, right? On a decent day, it's going to go all the way through.
Yeah.
Essentially, unless you have enough experience to compete with a bunch of people who are like, I got to get mine, I'm going to get as many as possible. You're not going to really get many waves. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to get any waves, right? Right. Not going to eat. And so, you see what I'm saying? And so for me, I'm like, we could all eat, bro. I'm just trying, and that's kind of what the color of the water and what a lot of the sort of the surf communities of color that are coming onto the scene, especially in LA, are saying. Before I get to that though, so we're saying, hey, all right, well, why don't we like break this shit up in half? Y'all can do a dope ass ride. You don't have to do that extra fucking dumb shit at the end. You know what I mean? Cut this shit in half. Give us some shit. There's 10 of us out, 12 of us out here. We can't eat over here. Let us fucking eat. That's all I'm gonna say. So that's that part. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about. Okay, same thing. Someone like a Point Doom, for example. Same thing. Someone like a PV Estates. You know what I mean? Like I've been out here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The ones that are nice that are nice points. Okay. Yeah. So that's that. The other thing I wanted to speak to, and we don't have to like make the whole shit. I'd like to like kind of get back to music, whatever. But I do. Yes, I do
want to get back to music.
Spirited, spirited.
Yeah.
is, when it comes to people who have experience, you had said that, these kids will one day be hopefully more experienced, hopefully really good surfers, right?
Probably will be.
And they'll, yeah, right. And they'll, and they'll feel a similar way. I happen to be friends with, and this has been a blessing, people like Julian Williams, who is an incredible surfer, originally from Hawaii, now lives in North Hawaii, now lives in Los Angeles. He's a friend of mine. Very experienced. I mean, he would dunk on all these motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And he gets it. Like, he gets it. That's the thing. He's a black surfer who has had to do a lot of but in Hawaii here, but has had to prove himself extra as a black surfer. And I don't think it's just because, of localism and not having the color of his skin it has been a factor. You see what I'm saying? So he gets it. He gets how, like, man, it's really hard for that sector of the population to be able to have the access. And so like, boom, so I could name others, but Julian's the one I'm closest to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I surf with more, I also know black surfers who are like a little bit more where you're talking about. So I'm not trying to say that it's like who are a little bit more like, yo, I've been out here, doing, but a lot of them had access, were the rare exception who had access. So anyways.
Yeah. It's a good conversation. I think, going back to your music, you're telling your story, you're telling a story that maybe needs to be heard, and it's from a different genre of music than the Beach Boys, which I don't think most of them surf, by the way. I think they
I think one of them only. Yeah.
Which is silly, but they kind of get the whole surf culture.
Yeah,
they kind of owned it in the 60s, I think.
Yeah, and it was a time when it was probably harder to own it, right? It was like they were like surf culture was a little bit more outlier, right? And it wasn't as in some ways they helped it become more commercial to
They did.
For the plus and minus of it, right? But like I think it seemed like they were pretty much respected because like they took something that was sort of thought of as oftentimes there was a negative stigma for surfers, and they made it something that you could celebrate. You know what I mean? So I always thought that was dope. And they were genius musicians. So.
Yeah. One thing I would say is more of the world surfing throughout the world and all continents, the lineups will change. Color-wise, they're going to change. They're changing now, and they have changed.
Yeah.
And it's good to see. And I want to see more countries in the Olympics.
Yeah.
I would love to. I mean, I think Africa, for one thing, is unexplored. How many good waves are in Africa? How many good waves are there's still places in the world to explore that are untouched. Yeah.
Well, see, and the thing is, a lot of these places, there are local surfers there. There's street balls in Senegal. There's, so even that language. I mean, like I explored. Like that's, what I mean. Like there's people out there. You know what I mean?
There's people out there.
But what you're saying, unexplored by bigger organizations like the World Surf League, like the Olympics, like competitions that can be out there and like. Which can also be dope, can bring industry and money and jobs and things like that, and recognition, and hopefully the locals.
It's good and bad. I don't know if it's all good.
But that hopefully some of the locals can be lifted up, right? Some of the
That's
local
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Servers, which I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of beautiful places with beautiful breaks and beautiful culture. Yeah. And I think that my hope as it continues to expand is that like that culture is also sort of like prioritized in it, because I do think as we talk about, why there is a universal code in general, as we talk about, I think that oftentimes that can be as a result of the dilution of the local culture and its influence, and more about the like exploration culture and its influence, right? So I would love to see like, because there's more money in industry, that's the downside. The upside is, you can have cats who actually have a living, locals who actually can make a living or thrive off of that. So, yeah.
That more people can learn about the ocean and then healing.
And healing and have that relationship, with
the ocean. Right.
But a lot of people in but the thing is the locals do. You see what I'm saying? If you go out to Senegal, you know what I mean? They have that relationship. You see what I'm saying? Fortunately, that and it's a little bit, it's less restricted than, let's say, New Jersey. Right.
Did you feel restricted in Jersey?
Bro, so restricted, bro. Like, it's like so wild. Like, the only time I remember someone saying that they had surf, for example, in New Jersey was this white girl. I mean, whatever. She was this blonde white girl, looked like and she was like in Long Beach Island, and there was this break that was like this relatively private break. You know what I'm saying? Gated community.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, there are now, but there was good wave.
Yeah.
Now there's starting to become more opportunity. Like, for example, Rockaway Beach. There's Black Surf Rockaway, right?
Okay.
But Rockaway Beach has a solid wave, and that's an area that is more predominantly diverse, and it's not like high end in terms of any type of barrier to entry. So you're seeing a little bit more of that, And I do think the fact that surfing has become more prominent, like with the Olympics and things like that, does just turn more eyes to it. You know what I'm saying? Cool to
awareness of surfing, of the ocean.
Yeah, and people having more opportunity, like to have that relationship, like you're talking about, because some of those, especially when I with the United States, there has been more barrier to entry to have that relationship. And a lot of that is because of capitalism and industry and wanting beachfront property, big investors, and then restriction versus like some of these places that are less, at least untouched, but that untouched by that industry, right? It's like you see locals just thriving out there. You know what I mean? So.
I know a lot of surfers that live out of their van.
Yeah,
and they don't want a job; they just want to surf. That's and they're poor as poor can be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the choice they made, right?
Yeah. I think that's an interesting.
And there's just as many of them.
I think there are a lot of them. I don't know as many, but I think that there's definitely a strong contingent. I think that a lot of them either grew up, around the beach or with access to the beach and to surfing.
Yeah.
A lot of them are trustafarians, especially when they got a nice sprinter out there. You know what I'm saying?
Possible. That is possible.
So I don't there are I mean, worldwide, but I'm talking more Los Angeles, right?
Yes,
like, I've
Southern California.
Right, Southern California. I've spoken to a lot of them, and I don't think of them as poor in that, like, a lot of them have resources at their disposal. You know what I'm saying? There are some that struggle, and there are some that have, to the degree with some may have mental health stuff. You know what I mean? And, that's a different thing. There's
of course.
all types, but the ones that I see out there, quote unquote, ripping, tend to be the ones that like, well, I probably grew up with a little bit of bread, and then now they're just like on there, like, okay, I'm on my van life shit, which is a dedication, and I honor that dedication for sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm not ain't there like they ain't struggling in mass incarceration and you know what I mean, and systemic stuff that a lot of people have dealt with. You know what I mean?
Right. It was fun. We chatted about this, and I had a great conversation. It was fun.
Good.
But let's get back to your music.
Okay.
So your Instagram on Kyle Raps, loaded with surf songs, and and back to the write up on Surfer Magazine. Did that just show up? Someone sent that to you?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously you can see that I have like a perspective on surf culture that's not just fly by night. It's that I like am dedicated. I'm on this journey, and I think that some of the writers saw oh, this guy actually kind of knows what he's talking about a little bit. You know what I mean? He's not life longer, but he like he has been doing this all life, but like that he really is about it, and that I can rap. I have a rap pedigree. I've been doing it a long time. I'm not just trying to drop out a couple of lines. I really believe in it, and so it was a thrill to be able to to capture that audience and to see that okay, like folks was actually paying attention to what I'm trying to put down in that regards. I think the first song was Birthright, that they wrote about, and it was me just sort of by the beach talking about some of my own upbringing experiences and what has made it maybe a little bit difficult to be able to come out here and have a consistent opportunity to build with the ocean. You know what I mean? So that was a thrill. Yeah.
Do you know who your audience is, and who is your audience?
Well, yeah. I mean, for me, I'm not really the type of person who is like, trying to be next level, like market categorization. I'm an artist who like I just want to be able to like express and my creativity to the fullest and sort of like enjoy the craftsmanship of it. But I do think that in general, for me to like people who like boom bap or like hip hop with bars and lyrics and content, people who like social messages in their music, but that also have an aesthetic and a standard that it like flow well. You know what I mean? That's well crafted.
Yeah.
Surfers. of all kinds. I want to, even if you disagree, even if you're like, yo, fuck this dude, he's a fucking straight up kook, he'll always be whatever the fuck
Yeah.
you want to say. I still want to be able to like access that person, even in that way. I think I have the artistry to be able to still have an impact on that person, right? From that person all the way to the person who's young, black, up and coming surf gods, you know what I'm saying?
Surf
Or
star.
yeah, or just someone who like a single mother who might want to learn how to surf just to deal with some of the the stress, and et cetera. So yeah, for me, obviously beach culture in general is what I'm shooting for, but I'm hoping I can just sort of be able to transcend anyone who wants to connect with hip hop, with music, with a nice Cali vibe, you know what I'm saying, with some East Coast rude boyness. So yeah.
Have you been back to Jersey in the last few years to go and surf?
No, so it was a pandemic. My brother's out there. Jersey's rough for me, man. Jersey's rough. I have a lot of history out there that it's hard to. But my plan is to soon. But it's hard for me to go back there, man. To be honest with you.
Oh, really?
A lot of love, and I have a lot of family and friends still. But yeah, I mean, it was a place that I have some trauma. You know what I mean?
Okay.
There's a lot of childhood trauma, so I try to, but yeah, it's on the, it's my plan to hopefully make it out there sometime, in the next year or so.
What board are you currently riding? Like, do you have a couple different boards you're riding?
Well, yeah, I mean, I got my longboard, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's a 9.9, you know what I mean? I gave a couple shout outs to my homie Rye because he's a shaper, you know what I'm saying? And it's like the first black shaper, and so he's hooking me up with the board right now, new board right now. But then I have a couple custom boards. So I have it's like a fun board, a custom fun board. It's like a 7.7 type of joint.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And then I'm trying to push into this. It's a short board I'm trying to push into, but man, it's hard to get off on that, man. Like I gotta be honest, bro. Like maybe yeah.
Well, here's what I've learned, especially getting older.
Yeah.
Embrace where you are. Like, if you're struggling on a 6.6, why would you want to ride a 6.6? Stay on the 7.4.
Yeah, see, the joint is like I feel like I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable.
Right.
Longboard is easy. I'm eating all day. You know,
Yeah.
but like the fun board, as they say, is like that's where I'm at on some like okay, we mastering this board. So but I would like to get to that short board, and honestly, just because the shit is lighter to carry, bro. Like I got a journey, bro. Like you know what I mean?
I get it. I walk into the beach
Koreatown, bro. Like you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
How's the traffic getting to the beach?
Oh, it's brutal, man. But
Dude,
LA. It's brutal, but it's worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, once you're there, what happens when you show up and it's windy or shitty or something? Do you still go out?
I make lemonade, bro. Yeah. We're gonna go out, we're gonna paddle, we're gonna work on just whatever we can work on. Just get out there and enjoy, chat it up with some folks. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta be grateful just to connect with the ocean, to connect with the beach.
Is there a local spot you usually go to? Do you have one in particular?
Yeah, like closest spot for me is just Venice Breakwater. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? So I can just go boom or Venice Pier. Like I really love going when sunset is like firing. I love going there. Yeah, I'll hit Porto. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like a special day when I'm like, all right, we're gonna hit this Topanga, we're gonna hit this PV Cove, we're gonna see if we can hit Sano. You know what I mean? Like those are like the special days where I have like extra time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never surfed PV Cove. I stay away from Palos Verdes.
Oh yeah.
Because it's localized. I've checked it, but I've never been out there.
Well, the Cove is all right. There's a couple spots out there where like, that whole Lunata Bay stain, the Lunata Bay Boys stain is there, but the Cove is all right, man. It's cool.
Okay, yeah, I've surfed Haggerty's, but
okay, yeah. Cove is chill. I've done San Clemente a few times. I want to make my way further down. I got a homie who's like, yo, let's do Seal Beach. You know what I mean? Like, Seal Beach Jetty. I'm trying to move my way down some, but it's also time permitting. You know what I mean?
Right. We got to have jobs and we got to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's hard. Are you making music now currently besides the surf music? Are you mostly just because surfing's such a part of your life? That's where you're kind of
right now. The surf project is what's and not just because surfing's, like sort of like a big part of my life, and this has been a thing that has gripped me. It's sort of been latent my whole life, and now that it just boom, came out, and been consistently inspired to write material for it and stuff like that. But also, like, you have to, man, like, as someone who's an artist who's not like crazy established, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to consistently bring content and keep hitting on a level with it in order to just gain some sort of like connection with an audience, and build some kind of an audience. And so for me, like, I have a couple things in the can, like bigger surf project stuff in the can that I'm like doing a lot of these videos so that I can end up releasing it. It's not just like a tree falling in the woods. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to make a splash with it. And so that's kind of that part. Obviously, like, I do plan on doing stuff beyond just surf, and I have stuff in my earlier catalog.
Your back catalog's huge.
Yeah, I got some stuff, man. I've been at it.
Good music. I listened to it. I went on Apple, played a lot of your stuff. I like it. Once again, I kind of grew up with like a rock or punk background, and I grew up with Sublime, with those guys.
Yep. What do you think about the new iteration of Sublime with the Sun?
So we saw them in Oceanside. Yeah, they're doing their thing. It's cool.
Yeah.
Anyhow, your music's like stellar. You worked with some pretty big names, KRS-One and...
Yeah, I got to work with Action Bronson, he's kind of a fun, out-of-the-box artist from Queens, who also is like a chef, and, he's just become like kind of...
And he's a good bodyboarder.
Does he does. He's out. I would love to do something with him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, why don't you guys go surf?
That would be good, see what's up. But you got to work with him. Murs, who's like a LA legend and just a legend and a scholar, man. Great dude. We actually have a track coming out.
Cool.
So that's really cool. Got to do stuff with Talib Kweli, who, just a brilliant, almost like a sociologist with his music, just brilliant stuff. Got to work with this group that has recently kind of popped off called Coast Contra. And they're sort of being kind of positioned as like the new wave Wu-Tang. They're like a group, and they can really all have their own style. They're really good. Happen to be friends of mine, and they hopped on a track for some of the new stuff. So I got some stuff in store, and it's always great to be able to collaborate with people that you admire,
Of course, yeah. In the music industry, do you think it's changed over the last few years?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, it's interesting, bro. Like, the music industry has always been, like, the industry has always been a thing, like a tricky, fickle, kind of money grabby, place. I do think that because artists can build their own platforms more now through like social media, you know what I'm saying? Like through more of an independent model. Mm-hmm. I think that you do see a lot more artists thrive if they can find a niche. And so I like to see that, it's like you don't have to have some, multi-million-dollar company investing and then having strings, on your creative, you know what I'm saying? So
okay.
We see more of that, I think, these days, which is encouraging.
Let's bring this back to surfing and music. I have this question of, no matter where we are in surfing, all the problems there is, but at the heart of it, there's some soul to it. Like, there's you, no matter who you're with. There's Kyle or Mike, whoever, mm-hmm. and the ocean, right? Mm-hmm. Waves, Mother Nature, whatever. But music too. Mm-hmm. There's some soul there too. Like, where who gives a shit who listens to it, but that's great music, right?
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck who's around?
Yeah.
Even though you do want people to hear your music and you want to see people to see your wave, at the end of the day, there's something beautiful about good music, a good wave, the soul of it all.
Yeah, I think really tapping into it. I mean, that spirit where they say that, the person having the most fun is the best surfer type thing. The spirit of that is like you're having that relationship with yourself, with nature, and you're enjoying it. You're not taking it for granted. You know what I mean? You're connecting. And I feel the same way about art, especially about music for me, where it's like when I'm just connecting, enjoying it, exploring it, you know what I'm saying, playing with it, emoting with it, being frustrated, having a whole experience with it, that's when it's at its best. Whether or not even necessarily considering. I mean, sometimes it's good to consider audience or whatever, but not the heart and the soul of it. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah. What about the song "I See Waves"? I like that song.
Yeah. Oh, you put with the song. Yeah. I appreciate you. Yeah, man. It was good, man. That one I felt pretty cathartic about because, we talking about, some of the saying some, some of the social issues, but also like they gonna be here. Wave's gonna be here. You know what I mean? Wave's gonna be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Do you do live shows?
Yeah. So I used to do a lot more live shows when I was on the East Coast. Now, because I'm rebuilding this whole thing more with, I've been rebuilding more with this surf rap, in mind. Yeah. I got to do, man, it was dope. I got to go my first time. I got to go to Hawaii. I got to go to Oahu. I got to go. Bro, it was. I got to go to the North Shore. It was flat, so all I did was catch a couple little Waikiki,
fun
things.
Yeah.
But it was flat. But it was on actually a cannabis farm.
Okay.
And it was they had a cannabis cup, and I got to perform. And they hit me up, and I got to do this show. It was like debuting some of this stuff, and it was, for a lot of local Hawaiians as well as folks who have been living there for a while. That was a great intro to see Hawaii, you know what I'm saying, and to be on the island. But also, it was just great to be able to express that stuff for people who I really felt were dialed in and could connect. So that was great. Hoping to do a lot more live shows, obviously out here too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And did you have a podcast in 2020?
Yeah, I've done a couple of podcasts. Part of it was just launching my recording studio, because we have a podcast studio. So it was like, okay, making sure that I know how to work the shit. You know what I mean? We know how to stay relevant. Yeah, those were never really all that serious. So that was just kind of messing up. Yeah.
I think you have a lot to say. You'd be pretty good on as being a podcast host.
I appreciate it.
I listen.
I think, yeah, bro. Like I see what you do too, which is why I see why you do it and you do it so well, bro. So much. I
appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. I'm just some dude that bought a microphone, to be honest with you.
I
started reaching out to like guys I've always wanted to talk to, and going back to the soul of it. I mean, if no one listened, I love that people listen and people contact me all the time. But at the end of the day, I got to talk to some of my childhood idols. Like I had posters on the wall, Now I'm sitting there talking to them. Awesome. So
yeah, you created your own dream come true, man.
I did create my own. I don't make no money, but fuck it.
Hey, that's what matters, though, man. Being able to do these types of things and have these kinds of experiences, right? And I definitely I admire the way you're going for it and doing it.
Kyle Raps, I really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate the discussion. It was fun. And we agree to disagree, but that's all good. No worries there.
Hey, man, we agree on some things. We disagree on some things. We do.
That's right. No big deal.
Man, but I respect you, bro.
Still be friends.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I love that. All right, everybody. So this is Mike and Kyle Raps, and we are out of here.
Yo. You know the vibe, older sober guy, watching Cobra Kai as my wildest dreams die below the sky. You know the vibe, surf line, bonafide, overhead pipeline, ultra ride, Vince Vega, John Travolta high. You know the vibe, unless you ain't been notified. Roll V, wade in the water, get it codified, flowing like a river and the ocean side multiplied. Yeah, there's only one commandment, motherfucker, Moses slide. Thou shalt not chill at home when the stoke is high. You know the vibe, the wide open eyes, scope the prize. Yeah, this for my great-grandfather, ghost who died with broken pride in hopes that I will keep his soul alive through the open flame that glows inside me every time I wake up. Bitch, it's time to get my cake up. You know the vibe, niggas comment and subscribe, trolling like they hate us, really wishing they was on our wave, but they busy chasing fake butts and makeup. This is surf rap, nigga.
Hey, you guys, Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic, numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. So much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.